It's a scam that starts in the Philippines and stretches across the globe. Investors are promised the opportunity of a lifetime.
So the whole idea is they get you on the hook,
but instead are left with shattered dreams and financial ruin.
The way they've played me, I'm sick inside.
I'm Steve Chow. On this episode of 101 East, we reveal how organized crime is making millions in the Philippines.
It's the business hub of the Philippines, where multinational corporations turn over millions in annual profits. But the Makati district of Manila has a dark underbelly, where some foreigners are making a fortune in dirty cash by trading fake shares.
Is this the latest surveillance report? Yep. Okay.
In secrecy, Australian private investigator and cybercrime expert Ken Gamble is in the final days of an operation to blow open an organised crime ring run by expatriates in the city.
We want to document all the people that they're talking to, whoever they have contact with, take photos of them. We need to figure out who are all the associated members of this syndicate.
This is the latest surveillance on.
The fraudsters have duped investors around the world by selling them shares that don't exist, then stealing their money.
So who are these guys? What are their nationalities?
They're Americans. They come from New York area, New Jersey.
For almost 2 years, Ken Gamble has been watching them. He has their emails, their bank account details and recordings of their voices. He knows everything about them.
Do they have any idea that you're onto them?
No idea at this time, and I hope that stays like that for a while.
Oblivious to this covert attention, the gang operates business as usual. The scammers pretend to be from investment houses in America. In real life, they call Manila home. Some have Filipino wives and children and have lived here for 20 years.
Well, they're very clever at what they do, at the securities fraud, but they're not very clever at covering their tracks.
The crime ring is about to be exposed because one of their own has taken a courageous course. Informant X, will call him, is about to turn on his associates, except they don't know it. I meet him in a discreet location on the edge of Manila.
How are you going?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Nice to see you again.
Yeah.
Informant X is a man with friends and influence on both sides of the law.
I'm the do-it-all guy. I'm a fixer. That's what I do for these guys. They have some problems, they come to me. I try and accommodate it. Most of the time, I'm able to do it.
But now, Informant X is planning to help engineer the downfall of the organised crime gang he works for. And along the way, he'll reveal to me the inner workings of an international fraud syndicate. It begins with him secretly recording gang members discussing their cut of profits from the scam.
It's not even that big, man.
You told me somebody was 120,000. How much you think it is? 20,000?
120,000 pesos?
No, only $20,000.
No, nothing like that, man.
Then his decision to inform on the gang takes an extraordinary new dimension.
So this suitcase, what's in it?
It's a whole heap of documents.
The most damning evidence is here. X has uncovered a trove of hundreds of documents belonging to one of the fraudsters. It exposes every aspect of their criminal operation.
Evidence of transactions, even their logs for whatever money comes in and goes.
The documents name the victims, investors from the Netherlands, South Africa, Hong Kong, Singapore, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand and Australia.
But one stood out the most, where he got scammed for a whole lot of amount. Almost $2 million, I'd say.
What's his name?
Wayne Brown.
Far from the bustle of Manila, the provincial centre of Rockhampton in the Australian state of Queensland. It's here I find Wayne Brown, a hard-working coal mine electrician who should be enjoying financial rewards.
I'm an underground coal miner. Going down that hole every day is hard work. I don't see my family for 5 days out of 7.
In early 2015, Wayne started sending his hard-earned cash to what he believed was a New York-based investment broker. He thought he was buying shares.
I looked at for the future. What I do at the moment, I don't want to keep doing because it's hard work. He offered me these Apple shares. I said, yeah, righto. I decided to take the shares.
But the share certificate was a fake. The Apple stocks were never bought and Wayne's money was pocketed. The so-called broker went by the name of John Paulson. Wayne didn't know it at the time, but Paulson was not a licensed trader. Even his name was an alias. In real life, he was an American criminal living in Manila. This is the fraudster talking, recorded on Wayne Brown's voicemail.
Hi, Wayne, John Paulson. I just wanted to touch base with you because I heard from Jeffrey Cohen. He told me you were still having some problems, and I wanted to see if I could help anyway. I'll call you later. Thank you.
So that's John Paulson.
John Paulson ringing up. There was no way in the world I thought anything was wrong because they were ringing me all the time, asking if everything was all right. I had no reason to think it was a scam.
The man who calls himself John Paulson is sticking to a script. Scammers like him use well-proven psychological techniques to entrap their victims. Investigator Ken Gamble has seen it all before.
They're required to get the investor on the hook, so the very first calls that they make are designed to get that potential investor to make a small investment.
There's the fear script to reassure nervous investors, and one called "You Need to Know Who I Am."
I'm going to make you very, very rich, so you need to know who I am because I'm the man that's going to change your life. And that, of course, you know, coming with someone who's very well spoken, with an American accent that sounds like he's calling out of Wall Street, then, you know, the average person is going to believe it.
The swindler John Paulson is stealing not only money, but an identity. There is a real John Paulson. He's a successful multi-billionaire investor and philanthropist from New York. But the imposter, to those who know him, is a thief and a thug.
He's a heavy drug user. When you see him, you think, man, I better get out of this guy's face or else. Because he's one of those intimidating guys. You say one wrong thing, something bad will happen to you.
Over the next few months, sitting at his computer in Manila, the fake John Paulson works on his victim, Wayne Brown. The Australian is persuaded to buy more bogus shares to the value of $700,000 US. His portfolio appears to do well.
Yeah, I thought he was legitimate. He had all knowledge of the share market, and everything he put forward to me was a good case. In
the case of Wayne, he was led to believe that these shares were valuable and that they went up in value, and then that leads into another deal which is even more lucrative, and so on and so on. A lot of these guys have worked as brokers. They have worked for major firms, some of the biggest firms in the world, and they've come out of those firms and they've gone to the dark side.
To bolster his image as a corporate heavyweight, the pretend John Paulson makes up another company name with the grand title Elysium Global Partners, its headquarters supposedly on Wall Street. It's another lie concealed behind a fake website.
So this is the Elysium website?
Correct, yeah. Elysium Global Partners. Well, I thought it was legitimate. There was no reason for me to doubt it.
They used this name because Elysium is the same name of a number of other organisations as well. So again, when you Google the name, you actually come up with all these legitimate companies.
Then the scamming of Australian Wayne Brown steps up a notch. After John Paulson hooks him into the scam, another gang member takes over. His job to keep Wayne spending money.
Paulson was just the start of the the scammers that had contacted me. John Paulson disappeared probably 12 to 18 months after I first started talking to him. And then Daniel, I called him, he came on the scene.
There is now a new broker in the picture, going by the alias of Daniel Johnson. But he too is an American criminal living in Manila, not the US.
Hi Wayne, Daniel here. I'm calling from Washington. I wanted to speak to you before I left Washington.
Johnson calls constantly to pry more money from Wayne Brown for more shares that will never be bought.
Something just crossed my desk. You know the Aramco oil company, the Saudi oil company? They're doing an IPO. I might be able to get my hands on some of those shares.
So tell me about this man, Daniel Johnson.
He's got a few bikes. He was a former, or he's still probably a member of Hells Angels.
Is there a certain arrogance about him, you know? Does he think he's a big shot in the Philippines?
Not only a certain arrogance, he thinks he rules the Philippines. It's like, I'm untouchable here.
Well, he's American. He lives here with his wife and has children to her. He's been in the Philippines for years. And he's probably one of the main characters who played probably one of the larger parts in this fraud.
The crime syndicate's victims from around the world are instructed to make payments to bank accounts in Hong Kong. From there, the money is sent to the Philippines.
And within a very short period of time, the money is usually taken out in cash here in the Philippines by local bank account holders who have control of the accounts on behalf of the fraud gangs, the syndicates, and the money is then laundered ultimately into cash.
By now, Wayne Brown believes his portfolio is valued at $5 million and he wants to cash it in. But there's a catch. The scammers in Manila tell him before he can sell his shares, he needs to pay US tax.
The tax money was around $800,000 US that they said I had to pay before I could get this cash back from my portfolio.
Once Wayne started to ask for money, they have to constantly come up with new ways of explaining why they're not able to pay the money. It's just an ongoing, clever scheme to continue to dupe him, basically.
The charade continues. Wayne has passed on to yet another Manila-based American criminal, again pretending to be on Wall Street. His alias, Jeffrey Cohen.
Jeffrey came in to more or less make everything happen. So he was there to close the account, my account, so I could get all my funds. Jeffrey said, you've got to pay this much money, for example, and then we'll give you the funds. We can release your funds to you.
Wayne, we do have a settlement in place for you. It seems like I can't get a hold of you. The amount that you need to fund is $47,000, okay? Upon funding, your money will then be released.
The scammers are trying to squeeze a final payment from Wayne.
Jeffrey was arrogant. He was very hard to deal with. He was very full on. He'd more to say, if you're not going to do this, tell me now, and the funds will just sit there anyway, we'll never get them.
With Wayne Brown's loss now at over $1 million, Informant X moves against the gang.
When I saw an Australian guy got ripped off for this much, I felt sorry for the guy. I just wish I can do something about it, and I think this is my way of doing something about it.
So Informant X calls private investigator Ken Gamble. He's willing to hand over the suitcase of evidence and forensic detail of the fraud against Wayne Brown. The investigator is wary. Gamble has spent years busting organised crime gangs in this region and has made many enemies.
They will usually take whatever steps is necessary to get rid of a person like me that's going to cause a lot of trouble to their syndicate and operation.
So how do you know Ken?
One group actually came to me and asked me to get rid of Ken.
To get rid of him?
Yeah. If I have to kill him, kill him.
You've done some pretty bad things, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I've done a lot of bad things. With regards to Ken, when I saw what he was doing, I just knew I couldn't get rid of him for the simple fact that he's helping out a lot of people in order to get their lives back in order.
What do you make of the fact that Informant X, the man who's helping you now, was once paid 90,000 pesos to get rid of you?
It was certainly a strange feeling talking to the person who had been instructed to get rid of me. And it sort of reiterated my belief that there's a lot more good people in this world than there is bad.
So you contacted Wayne to tell him he'd been scammed. What was his reaction?
Well, he was pretty shocked, a little bit baffled at what was going on, but he was also relieved. He had suspicions that something wasn't right. He just didn't know what was going on. He didn't know who to talk to.
Wayne Brown hires private investigator Ken Gamble to track the scammers and recover the money he's lost.
I invested $1.4 million US with these blokes. It was sickening, actually. I'd invested that much money into my future, and then to find out there wasn't any cash there, it was real sickening.
More than 5,000 kilometres away in Manila, the criminals are unaware their victim knows he's been conned. The tables are about to be turned.
I said, firstly, the first and most important thing to do is not to let on to them that you know that you're being scammed, because I'm going to have to use you to continue to communicate with them to gather evidence that'll be vital for the case.
Wayne keeps getting calls from the con man Jeffrey Cohen. More appeals for him to pay money to free his shares. Wayne plays along with him.
My job there was to keep them on the hook, as they've been doing to me for the last 3 years. I was just trying to turn the tables, keep them in a conversation with me, telling them I was going to give them the cash to finalise these deals.
Hello. Oh, good. I got you, Wayne. How are you? Good by yourself.
It's so hard talking to people that you know that's ripped you off, and you've got to talk nice to them just to keep them on the hook. It's just so hard knowing that they're on the other side of the world, more or less, or Manila, sitting there laughing at you.
The fraudster Jeffrey Cohen is becoming desperate and aggressive to extract a final payment from his victim. Wayne is giving him the runaround.
If you say you're not going to do it, then we're not going to talk again. If you say, okay, you're going to do it, and you'll have your funds within 72 hours. Yeah, that's fine.
All over the world, people are being scammed, whether small amounts, big amounts. They have no mercy.
How many syndicates do you think would be run at the one time?
I'd say there's about 60 groups here in Manila, at least.
And how many individuals?
Hundreds of them.
I would say that there would be tens of millions of dollars involved in these frauds. We have found call centres that are raising money through securities fraud that have been directly linked to terrorist organisations in Indonesia.
After almost 2 years of investigation, Ken Gamble is ready to take his 1,000-page brief to the Makati police chief.
So in a sense, you've done the detective work for them, haven't you? You brought the brief, you brought the case to them.
Yes, we've done more than just file a complaint. We've done an investigation, we've gathered evidence, we've profiled the suspects. They are not skilled in financial crimes, particularly cross-border crimes. So where I bring expertise is in the area of cross-border fraud and how it all works.
Oh, my friend.
How are you?
Hey, fine.
Good to see you.
The police will need time to assign their own investigators and conduct their own surveillance. But the case against this syndicate of foreign criminals is compelling.
And we have identified a number of persons of interest, the actual suspects involved in dealing with Mr. Brown. There's 3 main guys that actually dealt with him on the telephone.
The Makati police chief is convinced.
It's a serious case, and I think it's time for us here in Makati. It's a central business district of the Philippines to take on the challenge, and we will help them. We will help those aggrieved party to recover the money.
Not knowing the noose is tightening around them, the crime group is still trying to draw more cash from Wayne Brown. He's paid them nothing for 15 months, but they persist, while Ken and the Manila police finalise their investigation.
And bear in mind, the Yankees are playing the Red Sox as we speak right now. So I'm making a great sacrifice to even call you on the line. But send me over an email, best time to call.
You don't expect your hard-earned cash to be taken away from you. I've got to sell my house, and I've also got a bank loan I've got to pay back, which I've given these people. Yeah, I need that money back so I can have a lifestyle.
In Manila, his hard-earned cash is being spent by fraudster friends Daniel Johnson and Jeffrey Cohen.
Jeffrey often posts on Facebook where he's been. He's a prolific Facebook poster. He's even got his own food blog.
I think he makes them especially for us when we come in. That's what I think it is.
But their fraud operation is about to come to a crashing end. Investigator Ken Gamble gathers final surveillance for police. In this high-security gated community, he searches for the home of the criminal who goes by the name of Daniel Johnson.
See this one here, the this one here with the cars? Yep. This one? 32, yeah. That's it. That's it.
Before dawn, a team of officers gather, including specialist cybercrime police. It's the final briefing before an early morning raid.
We would hope to gather enough intelligence to track down where the money's gone, what assets have been purchased, and work out a strategy on how to recover the money. Gone to wake him up, I think.
The moment has arrived. They're at the house of Daniel Johnson, the man who allegedly scammed most of the money from Wayne Brown.
Wayne Brown? Who? Wayne Brown? You know Wayne Brown?
I don't know.
This is the man who calls himself Daniel Johnson. His real name is Richard Rakiopi Jr., and he's a 56-year-old New Yorker.
Richard, you left a message this morning, last night, for Wayne Brown on his voicemail under the name of Daniel Johnson. Do you recall that?
Two other men also live here. One of them, Barry Rosen, is the brother of the alleged fraudster known as Jeffrey Cohen. What's been going on in this house is about to be exposed.
We'll start the search now.
All right.
You stay here.
I'll stay here. Can I? Do you guys want coffee or anything? Anybody wants some?
Upstairs, the police find evidence of what appears to be a sophisticated fraud operation. Scripts to entice investors, laptops, and a list of dozens of names of investors, most of whom don't yet know they may be the victims of a scam. But there is one name Ken Gamble needs to find.
Aha! This is DPJ Executive Officer. This is DPJ Tax, which is the company that Wayne Brown invested the money. So here the emails, Wayne Brown emails are right here on the computer. So there's the evidence right there. One of these emails was just sent last night. Richard, I noticed you've been in touch with Mr. Brown this morning.
Not this morning.
Last night. On the email, it's there.
Okay, you got everything. I got a lawyer.
So, yeah.
I understand.
You understand?
I understand what's going on.
Okay.
We're good. Do what you got to do, guys.
Okay.
This one, this
I bought that for my wife.
But for Richard Rakiopi, the morning is getting worse by the minute.
So I was trying to have it registered.
Who bought that?
I bought it, but I don't own it. Yeah. There is no ammunition.
After so many months of investigation, today is very special for Ken and Wayne.
I'm looking at the light at the end thinking, I'm either going to put them in prison, get me cash back, or at least let people know that there are people out there like this.
For now, Richard appears calm and cooperative.
Listen, I want to thank all you guys for being so cordial and polite and respecting my house.
Richard Rakiopi and his 2 housemates are formally arrested, accused of cybercrime.
If you guys would have let me know, I would have brushed my teeth and combed my hair.
The alleged chief fraudster is now in custody, but for Ken Gamble, much work lies ahead.
Every pressure point that we can hit, we will apply pressure there in order to get our clients' money back. That may involve filing criminal cases, it may involve filing civil cases, whatever it takes.